Welcome again to Reflections on the Community and its Cultures. This time around a look at employment and education and the mix there, and at the Kansas Legislature. Later, Four County's Diana Compton will discuss employment and education support work. First up, District 12 Representative Jim Kelly will talk about his experience in the Kansas Legislature. That's coming up on Reflections. Reflections continues now as we welcome to the program Diana Compton, who is Employment and Education Support Coordinator with Four County, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And the obvious question, and I always go for the obvious question, what in thunder is an Employment and Education Support Coordinator? What do you coordinate?
Well, my staff and I assist people with severe mental illness obtain and maintain employment, competitive employment.
Okay. And is that your prime focus?
That is our primary focus.
Okay. How does the education part fit into that?
The education, we try to, if they want to advance into maybe a career, and lots of times they are lacking the education. So sometimes they go to VOTEC, sometimes they go for the 2-year degree, and sometimes a 4-year degree, depending on what they have chosen to do as a career. And we really like them to focus on a career versus just a job.
Right. How long have you been involved in Four County?
I have been here for 11 years, and I've been the coordinator for 7 years.
Okay. And has most of your work been focused in this area in terms of helping people get into the employment world?
Yes. Yes, that's been our focus.
What's so important about getting folks with mental challenges involved in the employment world?
Well, it aids in recovery. Almost any time someone goes to work, their self-esteem increases. They feel like they're contributing to society, and it's just an overall feeling that they're really doing something worthwhile.
And again, is it tailored to the individual? Do you work with groups? I'll bet the answer is both, but I'll ask you that question anyway. Basically,
we work on with individuals,
okay.
And it's their choice of what employment they choose to seek. That is part of we have 8 principles. It's evidence-based practice that we follow, and one of them is that it is consumer choice. And it is completely driven by what they would like to do.
Okay. And how many folks are you working with, again, at any one time, let's say? And I know there's not an answer there, but I'll do it anyway.
We normally have, right now we have about 120.
Wow.
And we've been as high as 150.
And how do you do 150 different things all at the same time?
Well, I have 6 full-time staff. And they have a caseload, and they just try to, like I said, based on what the consumer wants, go out and try to, sometimes we job develop, which means we go out and we talk to businesses about the person if they choose to disclose. It's not a requirement. And we, like I said, we just try to make sure it's what the consumer wants, what job they want, not a job that we want them to have.
Now, again, I know we can't talk about, specific individuals and specific situations, but kind of walk me through a situation with typical is a silly word, but a typical client that you're working with. How do you meet that person?
Basically, we get a referral, usually from Four County, either therapists, sometimes from medical services, lots of times from the case managers. And then we go out and we meet the person, we tell them about our program, and they decide whether they want it or not.
You say you go out and meet them?
Yes, we go out in the community and meet them.
Okay, so you don't say, come to my office at 4 o'clock?
No. Okay. I mean, it could happen like that, but most of the time we're going in the home and we're saying, this is a service we can help you with, and then we get them out in the community to find the employment. Okay.
And that visit in the home also, I'm sure, is informative to you, because you get to see a situation, which you wouldn't be able to see if somebody just came into your office.
Correct.
And what kind of things are you looking for in that situation? I mean, again, I know everything is individual.
we just want to make sure that when someone becomes employed, that they understand what's going to happen to their benefits if they're on, Social Security. We want them to understand what happens, and basically, again, we just try to make the best job match we can for that person.
And you're successful at your job.
Yes.
I note here you're even award-winning at your job.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
This year we received the Johnson & Johnson Dartmouth Achievement Award for Evidence-Based Practice Support and Employment.
Wow.
It was a national award. We were one of 3 programs in the nation that was recognized as having an outstanding support and employment program. And the annual conference was held in Burlington, Vermont in May, and I was able to attend and receive our award. And along with that was a $10,000 award to Fort County.
And again, that goes into helping support your program. Because again, you say like a half a dozen other people meeting with 120 to 150 different people is a large enterprise. And that's something that we, well, I don't know that we forget it. I think we just don't understand what a large enterprise Fort County is. And then coming down to a specific part of it, the employment and education arm is also, it's huge. And it has to be expensive, and $10,000 doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't.
And the recognition doesn't hurt either.
No,
I think
it
it's
doesn't.
great, and you should be congratulated along with your folks. The education arm, we talked a little bit about the employment arm, and I want to come back to that. But the education arm, how do you approach that with an individual?
If they decide they want to return to school, sometimes we support people in getting their GED. Or their high school diploma, whichever one that they might choose. And again, we go out to the college with them, help them get enrolled, and any accommodations that they're needed, we try to get those in place. And like I said, it just depends on which program what they want to be involved in.
Are you also supportive of, because some of this is going to be, speaking of money, some of this is going to be costly too. Do you help a student with that education? We
just mainly provide the support and helping them get in and seeing if they qualify for financial aid. We do work in collaboration with vocational rehabilitation, and sometimes they will help with the cost if they don't, they can't get a Pell or funding. So that sometimes an avenue that.
So again, you're not handing out checks, but you're making people aware that there are avenues to make things work for them.
Yes.
Success stories? Again, no names involved. But there has to be something to keep you at this, because this can't be all fun, Diana Compton.
Well, really, we have had a lot of successes over the years. Anywhere from, people work in they work in retail settings, they work in factories, they work in convenience stores, they work, and a lot of our success has been with self-employment. So we've had a lot of success with people having their own businesses.
What kind of businesses?
We've had anywhere from having a worm farm. That was several years ago. That was very successful. To wood cutting, lawn mowing, computer repair. There's just a wide range of.
Working again with an individual who has, various kinds of challenges. And what kind of challenges are we talking about? Let me ask you that first of all.
Sometimes it is. Not being able to work around a lot of people, that's an issue that a lot of our people face. Being able to just get up every day and go to work because of your symptoms, and
because of what you might have become used to.
Exactly.
Again, one can see that as a definite factor. So you have to sort of do some motivational work too.
Yes.
I imagine quite a bit of motivational work.
Sometimes, but most of the time they're just very motivated and ready to go to work.
Really?
So, yes.
And again, you mentioned that basically come to you through primarily through references from programs at Fort County in terms of counseling and things like that. A term that you mentioned a few times and I let you get away with, because usually I don't let people get away with terms that we don't understand. You said 2 or 3 times, and one of the things that your award was focused on, evidence-based practice.
Yes.
And what does that mean exactly?
What that means is, it's in this case, Dartmouth Institute studied supported employment for several years, and they came up with, at first there were 6 principles of the evidence-based practice, and over the last few years they've added 2 more. And that is what it's just over, it was a study done over a period of time, and they've decided that this was the best way to run a program to get people employed. Okay.
Normally I wouldn't throw this at you because I wouldn't give you a pop quiz on those 8 principles, but one of the things you have in your hand I see has some highlighted stuff, and I see it's a list of 8 things. Yes. What are the 8 principles that you work with?
Well, like I said, eligibility is based on client choice. Our services are integrated with other mental health services. Competitive employment is our goal.
By competitive employment?
Competitive out in the, not in a sheltered workshop, not, it's
the real world.
Real world.
As some of us look at it.
And that we have rapid job search, which means as quickly as we can, we get them out in a job search. And also, I talked about job development, which is going out and talking to employers, and that may be just finding out what a certain business does, or it may be talking specifically about a client if they've chosen to disclose. And we have ongoing job supports. They're continuous. Basically, as long as a client wants us in there, we'll pretty much be there. And that anything that a client wants is honored. I mean, what their preference is honored. And we also do benefits planning, which means we either we usually take them to a benefits specialist so that they know what happens to their benefits when they go to work.
Okay, and as you mentioned earlier, just sort of went through it quickly here, you mentioned earlier that getting into the job world can affect some of those benefits and some of those levels of assistance, and some of the changes might be a little on the negative side, and so you have to work out how to balance those. This is a great thing you're involved in, and obviously something that you enjoy and feel good about, or you wouldn't be at it this long. Diana Compton is the Employment and Education Support Coordinator at Fort County and has been for a while. Thank you very much for filling us in on this program and being with us on this program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being with us on this edition of Reflections.